Hey, my name is Robert. Welcome back to Pics, and this is episode 21. Today I'm going to be covering my first Zuffa boxing fight, and it just so happens to be a rematch that, on paper, is really good. It's José Valenzuela versus Edwin de Los Santos 2, and right off the bat, the first fight was crazy. If you haven't seen that fight, go watch that fight. This rematch is going to be crazy as well. Now, I think you have to watch my breakdown because if you watch that first fight, you'll see Valenzuela fight a certain way, and he doesn't really fight like that anymore. So in this rematch, we're going to see a different version of Valenzuela. So like I said, I really think you should listen to my fight style breakdown of each fighter. If you want to just skip to my predictions, you can go ahead and do so. Timestamps are in the description. But I'm going to jump in to the fight styles of each fighter and some of the bad habits they have. First, I'm going to start with José Valenzuela. José Valenzuela is a southpaw who has evolved his fighting style over the years. He began as a pressure fighter and fought the majority of his early fights as this style. As he has evolved and matured, he has taken the boxer puncher approach in many of his fights, and he relies on good, clean counters as well. The slickness he has developed over the years is what has led to his championship and high level success. José Valenzuela is 27 years old and he stands at 5'9". His record consists of 15 wins with 9 coming by knockout and 3 defeats with 1 coming by knockout. Valenzuela holds a traditional guard most of the time, but he sometimes lowers his lead hand to make it more of a Philly shell. Offensively, Valenzuela is most consistent with his straight left hand, which is set up by his jab. He is good at landing this on the back foot as well as the front foot. Valenzuela has good hooks to the body and well-timed uppercuts to the head and to the body as well. He is a quick puncher as well as having good power when he sits down on it. Valenzuela primarily fights as a boxer puncher nowadays due to the style matchups he has been facing recently. He has faced off against 2 pressure fighting Mexicans and 1 slick, powerful pressure fighter as well. In these fights, he fought on the front foot occasionally, but he didn't pressure forward. It was more of him just planting his feet and stopping his opponent from advancing. He countered effectively on the back foot with combinations as well as well-timed single shots. Valenzuela also finds a lot of success with his combination punching on the inside. In this range, he is able to outpoint many fighters and outdamage them as well, but it comes at a cost. Defensively, Valenzuela uses his high guard, head movement, and footwork. He is most successful with his footwork, which allows him to make angles to avoid looping overhands and sweeping hooks. Valenzuela's high guard is useful for him in many moments, but the majority of the time he struggles to defend the hooks that loop around the side. When he is in tough fights, he can be roughed up around the side of his guard. Even against fighters whom he beat decisively, like Diego Torres Nunez, his opponent still found success with hooks around the guard and even managed to open up a cut. All of these moments would happen when Valenzuela was in range and was unable to use his footwork to evade. In the past, when Valenzuela fought much more aggressively, it came at a cost. His first fight against Edwin de Los Santos in 2022 went horribly, as Edwin de Los Santos was able to take advantage of the openings around José Valenzuela's guard. Valenzuela's high guard is pretty weak to start off with, but de Los Santos was able to intercept Valenzuela mid-combination. Valenzuela is at his best when he fights in and out with his combinations or just single shots. This gives him the best opportunity to land clean shots while prioritizing his defense. He did this very well against Nunez and Isaac Cruz. When Valenzuela fights carelessly, as he did against de Los Santos in the first fight, he could be countered with devastating shots. He has evolved drastically since that fight, but his high guard is relatively the same in terms of effectiveness. When we look at José Valenzuela's durability, in his fight against Edwin de Los Santos, his chin looked pretty vulnerable. But that was pretty much it. His chin looked pretty good against Gary Anton Russell and also against Nunez. He took many big shots in those fights and didn't react as he did back in 2022. Now I'm going to cover Edwin de Los Santos' fight style and some of the bad habits he has as well. Edwin de Los Santos is a southpaw pressure fighter with good boxing ability and good counter punching. He He stands at 5'8" and is 26 years old. He has a record of 17 wins, 15 by knockout, and 2 losses by decision. Edwin holds his guard mainly in one way, but he does alter it slightly at times. He holds a traditional guard most of the time and for most of the fight, but he does sometimes lower his lead hand to turn it into more of a Philly shell, similar to how José Valenzuela does. Offensively, Edwin de Los Santos finds most success with his straight left hand and his right hook. He mixes up all of his punches to the body and to the head, and he has good speed on all of his shots. He also generates great power on all of his shots, and he is very explosive with his power punches. De Los Santos often leads with his right hook, and he actually throws it as someone would throw a jab. It's pretty effective too because he's very accurate with this shot. Edwin de Los Santos throws a lot of single power punches that find the target due to his accuracy. He is a sharpshooter in this aspect of the fight game because he could sit down on these shots and still land with precision. He also does very well with his combination work, but his combinations usually start with a power punch. He doesn't really go in like tapping, he explodes into his combinations. And this explosion, it signals him to continue until he feels it's right to stop. Edwin de Los Santos has that kind of like Caribbean style that includes a lot of flashy but not overly cocky movements. His footwork is great and his head movement is quick and very natural. Defensively, Edwin does many different things and he's pretty much successful with everything. He uses head movement the most, but he also uses parrying, footwork, and his guard to just defend pretty much everything. His head movement is by far the best defensive maneuver he does. He has great weaves, slips, and rolls that are all good at transitioning into effective offense. Edwin fights as a pressure fighter most of the time, and he outdogs his opponents. But he possesses the ability to box very well as well. And he showed this against José Adorno in a fight that kind of just seemed like a showcase fight where he wanted to show and prove that he wasn't just all chaos in the ring. He showed us that he could tune it down and fight a disciplined but entertaining game plan. Footwork is a great attribute that De Los Santos has because it allows him to effectively manage the range and cut off the ring as well. He struggled with cutting off the ring against Shakur Stevenson, but that was a fight where Shakur Stevenson was injured and he was really just trying to not engage in the pocket and risk injuring his hand even more with the young, dangerous fighter in Edwin. De Los Santos did a great job with cutting off the ring and managing the distance in his tune-up fight recently against Chavez, as well as in his legitimate fight against José Adorno. When De Los Santos is focusing on his offense, there are times when he is vulnerable to counters. He can overcommit to shots, and it could be dangerous for him. José Valenzuela managed to land a shot in their first fight, which put De Los Santos on a knee, and it had an effect because De Los Santos wasn't expecting it to come. It was also kind of just a 50-50 exchange where both guys were throwing a big hook, and José Valenzuela's landed in the sweet spot. De Los Santos hasn't fought the dangerous competition that José Valenzuela has, so it's kind of hard to compare their durability. In their first fight, when Edwin de Los Santos got dropped by José Valenzuela's left hook, in their first fight when Valenzuela managed to sit down De Los Santos with the left hook, Edwin recovered and he wasn't hurt too badly. De Los Santos can definitely take a punch, but we know José Valenzuela can hurt him. Okay, now I'm going to be covering my predictions and fight specifics. Edwin de Los Santos versus José Valenzuela is a fascinating rematch because both fighters possess very similar skill sets to each other. Both hold similar guards and are very quick while having good punch placement as well. Both are also young southpaws and they both can punch. This fight is also interesting because of how the first fight went. Edwin de Los Santos pretty much had the upper hand all night because of his quick and more effective and accurate offense. Both fighters went down in their first fight but it was Edwin who emerged victorious. Jose Valenzuela has been very active since his defeat to Edwin de Los Santos, and he even won a world title during that time. Edwin de Los Santos, on the other hand, had 2 good fights, one against Shakur Stevenson, and then had a 2-year layoff before having a tune-up fight in December, which ended within 1 minute. There is a notable activity difference between these 2 fighters, but the skill at hand is unquestionable. Edwin de Los Santos is still quick, explosive, and very powerful. He did not lose that ability in those 2 years. Jose Valenzuela has evolved into more of a boxer puncher, which is great for his discipline as it has improved his success in the ring as well as minimizing the damage he takes. Despite this new approach though, he is still very vulnerable around his guard and is very prone to getting roughed up on the inside. In those moments where he stands his ground, he gets clipped clean and it is very worrying. His boxing is great, but I imagine Edwin being able to match him in the boxing department. On top of this, he will have more success on the inside. Those hooks around the guard that Nunez was throwing are significantly slower than what we can expect Edwin de Los Santos to throw in that ring. Even in their first fight, we saw de Los Santos hammering hooks around the guard of Valenzuela, and we saw the eventual outcome. Valenzuela will most definitely fight smarter this time around, but I believe de Los Santos will still find his moments on the inside. If the slower pressure fighters could do it, I believe the lightning fast, precise, and quick on his feet fighter will be able to replicate that same success. Not to mention the fact that Edwin just alone hits very hard when he isn't sitting down on his shots fully. With all that being said, I am picking Edwin de Los Santos to force a stoppage in the mid rounds. My prediction is Edwin de Los Santos by stoppage in round 6. Well, thank you guys for watching. This is a great fight. I know I say this for pretty much every fight, but this one specifically, the history between these 2 guys, I believe this is the first rematch I've ever covered. Actually, no, I literally just studied Keyshawn Davis versus Nahir Albright. Scrap that. Well, another rematch I've covered, and I mean, rematches are always very fun to cover because I have a reason to watch the old fight and I can compare their current skill sets to how they looked back then. Yeah, hopefully Edwin de Los Santos isn't getting a point deducted in this rematch. Hopefully he doesn't hit Valenzuela when he goes down. Let me know who y'all got in the comments for this one. It's a close fight, man, but I'm favoring the guy who won in the first fight. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all next time.